Today's message from Reverend Christian Sorensen was recorded May 22, 2016, and it's titled, Healing Happens. Subtitled, The healing is an effect of your conscious connection with Spirit. There is a shift. The humanist dissolves and fades into an experience of closeness, connectedness, oneness of the life force, and the presence of Spirit itself. Come visit us sometime at www.seasidecenter.org, or you can join us in Encinitas, California sometime, where great music, a spirited message, and a joyful, loving community always await you.
Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home, 'cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this morning it is about healing happens. Wouldn't that be nice if that's just the way it is? Healing happens. It happens. And what we talk about in religious science is that healing has really been the thrust of the movement since its conception. Healing has really been its strength. It has been the key for its growth. And what I've noticed, it is what has probably brought most of the people through our front door for a Sunday experience, is because we're looking at some kind of healing going to happen in our life, whether it's in our body, in our world of affairs, our finances, our relationships, whatever it is. I could use that tweak and that adjustment. So I say healing has really been the thrust of our movement since its conception, and I'm going to share a little twist to that. So, because I can teach you how to heal, that's what we do in the foundation class and the different various classes. But I believe that really what our movement is about is not about creating the healing, but rather the healing is an effect of our conscious connection with Spirit. Our movement is about moving to a place where I'm able to experience that life force, that I'm able to experience that presence. And as I come to the realization, the knowingness, and the connectedness with the infinite, it is made evident in my world through healing, through transformation, through abundance. I don't need to go impress my thought upon God. This is what I want to go on in my life. Got that? There's a lot of religions out there that think prayer is about impressing upon the mind of God what it is I want and what I desire, as if God's there for me to use. God is infinite. It has all been given. It is omnipresent. It is ever available. And if I can get rid of my wants, my desires, and not try to impress upon God like a Santa Claus in the sky to deliver what it is I want and not get the goodies that I want, but if I can move myself into a place of being, just allow myself to resonate with all that is, then what I begin to show in my life is the effect of that kind of connection. What I begin to do is to walk with a little greater sense of ease and grace, not with an urgency, but with a peace and with a calm. What begins to show up in my life is a result of living that connection a 24/7, or at least as much as I can. I think that's what we're working on, is having that constant connection with that infinite source. Because if it's all-knowing, got that? All-knowing? What does that mean? It knows everything? It knows what I've got need of even before I do. Do I really know what I'm going to be needing next year? But if I can surrender to allow that flow to move through me and be a recipient to that grace, to that greater understanding, and trust that flow in my life, then healing begins to happen. Not because I'm using my effort, but because it begins to happen. If I can let go and let God. Kind of cliche, but I want to share a little twist to that cliche. Because so often we say, okay, let God take care of it. Doesn't that sound like it's outside? Let God take care of it? How? It's like, God, you take care of it. God's not outside. That presence is what I am. And if I'm just putting it outside and say, hey, let it take care of it, then what I am doing is beginning to remove myself from that. I've got to recognize that I am that. And as I come into a greater realization and recognize that God is, and I'm part of the isness. Harmony is, love is, abundance is, grace is. I don't have to make harmony happen. You get that? That's what we try to do with our prayers. We try to make harmony happen. We try to make abundance happen. Harmony is. What I need to do is step into the isness of harmony, the isness of God. because it's already there. You follow me? Okay, because it's a little far out there. I usually save this part to the end of the service. So I'm starting off in the high spot. But if you begin to recognize that, then what happens is you develop that, and wherever you find yourself, the answer is beyond even before what I know I needed. A gentleman by the name of Phil had been working on the sacred Buddhist practice of kindness, love and kindness practice. And he'd been working on this for a couple of years. And he was walking late one night at some of the back streets of Soho in New York when he was accosted by a guy with a gun. The guy, he was shaking with the gun, and he said, "Give me your money." Phil just, instantly took out his wallet. He had over $600 in there, and he gave it. And the guy's still shaking. Give me more. I want more. And he said, "Here, take my credit cards. Here, take my whole wallet." And he's holding the gun, and he's just shaking and says, I got to shoot you. I got to shoot you. And Phil, who's practicing this Buddha's loveness and kindness kind of thing, he tries to look him in the eye and says, "Hey, you don't have to shoot me. you don't have to shoot me. Here, take my watch. It's a very expensive watch." And the guy, you could see, he's just all whacked out on some kind of drugs, scraggly beard, hair a mess, eyes all bloodshot, hands shaking. "But I got to shoot you. I got to shoot you." He said, "No, you don't have to shoot me. You did good. Look at, you got almost $700. You got credit cards, a very expensive watch. You did good. Go tell your friends that you did good." And the guy kind of dropped the gun, started walking away. "I did good? I did good? I did good?" You see, when you are living in alignment with that presence, Spirit does good by you in ways that are relevant and real. You don't have to keep affirming it. You don't have to keep saying, "I do good. I am abundant." Though affirmations are good. I don't want you to get me wrong. Like I said, in foundation class, in the first class, I teach you how to do affirmations. It's like being positive and affirmative is better than being negative and just in bad shape. But a lot of our metaphysics is very paradoxical. It's this, and it's also that. Like, how can it be both at the same time? It's this and it's that. So I'm going to share a little bit of that around affirmations, okay? Since we're talking about healing happens. But what I've noticed from teaching affirmations is we tend to do the affirmations that we're not, right? Let's say if you're working on abundance, and you got all those years of thinking negative, it's good. I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant. You try to tip the scale to get it back into place. You try to offset. I get it. But I'm trying to point out here is we tend to do that which we're not. You're working on abundance. Do you for a moment think like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett walk around saying, "I'm abundant, I am abundant now"? I don't think so. They are abundant, and it is their consciousness, and that is what they are. They don't have to keep affirming it, and oftentimes with our affirmation, we're just affirming the very thing we're not. I got to tell you, when I was younger, I used to be very active. I was never concerned about my health or my well-being. I didn't go around saying, "I am healthy, I'm in great shape." No, I was out there surfing every day, skating every day, riding my bike every day, playing tennis. I was running here and there, and if I twisted an ankle, I never went and say, "I'm healthy." I say, "Get better now." It's like that. It wasn't a matter of health. It was like a matter of inconvenience. And so when people are going, "I am healthy, I'm healthy," it's usually because there's something inside that doesn't really feel that. You follow me? Okay, so it's an interesting road that we're on, but as we begin to recognize, I encourage you to do that. I have people say, "Well, I'm going to get around to it. I know I procrastinate a bit, but I'm going to get around to it starting tomorrow." Thank you. I was just saying you're paying attention there, because I do talk kind of fast sometimes. So I try to slow it down. But anyway, so there was a guy who he loved his after dinner pipe. He would just sit there and just puff on his pipe. And one night his wife smelled something burning. She looked in and said, "Hey, Pa, your whiskers are burning." And he said, I know, very angrily, but I'm praying for it to rain here. And what happens sometimes is we get so caught up in our neurosis that, we really don't want to change, is what I've noticed. When you're working with the neurotic, it's not so much we want to change. I just want to be comfortable in my neurosis. I just want to be comfortable being a neurotic. I want it healed without pain and having to give it up. And so if my whiskers are burning, leave me alone. I'm going to pray. I'm going to let God take care of it to come in and save me here in this situation whenever Spirit can get around to it. No, you are the conduit. You are that one expression which Spirit is. And so you are that place that's happening. You know, you want a healing? A healing happens. But you just got to get yourself into the happening spot, and you do that with consciousness. You know, that's how it shows up in your life. And so you came here today, you know, not to get, maybe, but the truth is, you came here to be activated. You came here to activate that which is already in you, the harmony that is, the abundance is, the health that is, the wealth that is. You came here to activate that part of consciousness that already is for you, and to remember and to move and live and have your being within that vibration and that divine space. That is the truth of who you are, and that is what can be happening in your life if you are willing to be in that place in which Spirit moves, which Spirit can unfold with an ease and a grace. You are that place that God is. But you got to know it. You got to be willing to be it. You know, there's a Buddhist teaching that says that no matter where you look in the universe, there is nobody more worthy for love than you. Isn't that sweet? No matter where you look in the universe, there's nobody more worthy for love than you. So why is it you're looking around all over the other place? Begin to look in yourself, and what you'll begin to discover is the very thing you're looking for is right here, in the heart and the soul of your beingness, of your spirit, of where that presence is moving in your life. You get to be that expression, and as you are, Spirit begins to unfold in a way that is relevant to you and for you. There was this woman in class, and she shared that she had very rough, just a very rough life, in the sense that she had difficulty in childhood. There was trauma in the home, there was abuse in the home, there was extreme poverty in the home, and then as she got a little bit older, she had to work through the loss of her parents. She had a very bad relationship that split in a nasty kind of way. She was a single parent of 2 children, talked about how it took a lot for her to educate herself and to get to work, and now she's into some radical self-justice causes in the political scale, and it's just the whole life is radical attack, kind of stuff to make it. And by the end of the class, there's something she said that just I remember, is that I'm going to try something really radical now. Okay. I'm going to try happiness. It's like, wow, I'm going to try happiness. And it made all the difference in the world. Happiness is. Joy is. You know, it's not about getting a healing from outside. It is about being having the experience of the Spirit that provides all. There is enough when you're living within that God consciousness. But you've got to be that. You got to get out of your head. I got to make this happen with my affirmations, with my prayers. No, get out of your head. There's a young guy. He found the love of his life, though the love of his life really didn't care. And so he was the pursuer. He kept asking her out, and it kept getting rejected and kept getting no. And for months it went on. It was just the pain and the agony. It was excruciating for this lover to not be able to connect. Finally, said, "Okay, I'll tell you what. You can meet me such and such place at such and such a time." Very excited. The meeting finally came. They met in the park. Finally found himself sitting next to his dream, and he pulled out of his pocket a whole sheaf of letters he'd been writing over the past few months. These letters of pain and agony and visions of their union and their love and what it is. And he read these letters, for an hour. And she finally, and it kept going. And she finally looked at him and said, "You are so foolish. All these letters are about me and your love for me. And here you are, you have me, and all you're doing is reading these letters to me." But isn't that what we do with God? We talk about the beloved, the holy, that life, that infinite. And I talk about it. I dream about it. It's on my tongue. It's in my thoughts. But God's saying, "You're so foolish. I'm right here. God is." God is, life is, health is, wholeness is, abundance is, it is. Why are you talking about it? Stop placating to the different demands of your world that are making you think it's not so. You got to be honest and true to what is so. The isness of spirit that is uniquely expressing as you. And it's perfect who you are. You know, we're working on stuff, obviously, but I mean, you're still perfect. And we're working. We're working. We're perfectly imperfect, if you would. There was this philosopher who was eating some lentils and bread, and another philosopher came by, and this philosopher was very comfortable because he lived, with the king. And he said, if you, to his philosopher eating the lentils, he said, if you would just learn to compliment and placate the king a little bit more, flatter the king, then you wouldn't have to eat, lentils all the time. And the guy looked at his buddy, just told him that, and said, do you know, if you learn to like and eat lentils, you wouldn't have to flatter the king all the time. Yeah. How are you selling out? Yeah. You want to experience ease and synchronicity and joy, you need to be clear. You want to experience, allow healing to happen, you've got to be clear. And it will happen. It doesn't matter. Last week we had 2 people here who both had knee surgeries and are back in action. You got Gail standing up who had spinal operation just a short time ago. It's healing happens. We hear stories of cancer that dissolve into the nothingness from which they came. We've got stories of people who have made quite significant contributions with their business and then have sold their business and have been supported for the rest of their life. We've got relationships that have become magical. Healing happens, and it's not because I go to God for a particular something, but rather what I do is I go to God for God, and I just allow myself to be the evidence of that kind of connection of which spirit is. And it doesn't matter what diagnosis a doctor may have given your body, that is not the physical truth of who you are. And the latest medical stuff that comes out with the epigenetics says your DNA, your cellular structure, your bone structure, it doesn't matter what the verdict is at this point. Physical, perfect healing can happen and has happened across the board with every condition that has ever sat in the medical books. So the only thing that is denying that to happening is your question, is this possible? Can this really happen? What is it that I need to do to allow this to take place in my life, in my world? What is denying that from showing up in my experience? What is it that I need to do? And then do that. Got that? And then do that. That's an important aspect. See, a lot of God will provide, and then they never get up. God, I'll let God. That's outside. You are the activity spirit is happening. The law of the divine is your expression. It's done unto you as you believe. And so you got to get your head and your mind and your thinking in order. And we know how the subjective responds. I mean, we all know about what we've been told about the subjective, that it doesn't know the difference, is what we're being told by science anyways, between something vividly seen and vividly visualized, right? You're vividly visualizing, it's impacting your subjective as the truth. You see it, it impacts your subjective as the truth. It goes in the same kind of way. The guys who do hypnosis. You ever seen anybody, they get some people up on stage, you're most receptive, and they'll say it's 120 degrees in this room. And they're like taking their clothes off. Say, no, the weather shifted. It's now freezing in here. And then they're shivering. And what has changed? Only their perception of the truth that is there. When I was a kid, my dad, he used to hypnotize people for fun. And so he used to hypnotize me. And I'd lie down on the floor, and he said, "You're as stiff as a board." And then they'd pick me up, and they'd put my shoulders on one chair in a space, and then my ankles on the other chair. So it was like a bridge. Then you have people come sit on me. And I was just stiff as a board. I would never bend. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy the way that works. Or he would say to somebody, hypnotize them, say, okay, you're going to forget the number 6. And they'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Wait. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And they get all frustrated, and then you get them back and everything. But, it's just amazing how the subjective grasps something. And I share that because we are so influenced by the world around us. No, I'm the guardian of my subjective mind. Nothing can get in there without my approval. Do you know how we get bombarded all day long, whether it's on advertising, radio in the car, TV, if you still have such a thing, the internet, Facebook, ping, it's like we're just, nothing's getting in. So here, I got a quick exercise for you. I want you to take your hand, and just for a moment, if you could put your hand on your chin, just for a second there. You should see how many hands where my hand went, right? I said chin. But I just wanted to point out to you how things can get by so easily because, we're vulnerable. We are receptive. And so what you want to do is begin to recognize that we are influenced. You take a look at a child. You can drop this child off on mainland China, and they can be speaking Cantonese, and it's like, man, that kid, he's only 2, and he speaks Chinese. How's that possible? He's brilliant. We know you can put a child in an environment where it's bilingual, and that child will be speaking 2 languages or 3 languages. Some kids will speak 4 languages before they even get into school. And I'm still working on 1 in my life. But somehow there is a receptivity that kind of casts the vibration. They are indoctrinated, or they get a culture. They can learn these languages. It said my grandfather, who was born in Switzerland, surrounded by all the different countries, could speak 6 different languages. And I used to work as a maitre d' on a cruise ship. And so what I know is you learn the language or you learn the culture. You don't really decide what it is you like to eat. You grow up saying you like to eat something, and this is the food you get. You're influenced by what is out there. You go to a neighborhood or an area that is a welfare neighborhood, and it's not unusual to find 2nd and 3rd generation of welfare recipients there because that is what they have learned. What I'm trying to get at is that your subjective has got these pieces put in there from an early age that may be operating to the detriment of what your heart and soul wants to do. And healing can happen if what you would do is go to God. If what you would do is go to Spirit and sit there and resonate with that vibration and that frequency of being that all of a sudden casts this vibration before you to step into. You don't need to go back into analysis and figure out all the things that messed you up. I mean, you can, and it's okay. But what I've recognized is when you figure out what the problem is, you still got the problem. But if all of a sudden what you begin to do is say, there's something new here. And it may be a little awkward stepping into this place. Bob Proctor, one of the business gurus of our time, he shares the story of when he was a child, that when he'd be over at places and he asked if somebody was coming to their house, and if there was more than one, he would say, "Are yous coming? Are yous coming over?" And Mrs. One of his neighbor's moms would say, "Bob, it's not yous." And he thought, how crazy. It's more than one. S, it's plural. Of course it's yous. Are yous coming over? There's 3 of yous coming. And so there was like this resistance. There was this defense. And someone would say, hey, no, it's not. And his head would go, yes, there's more than 3. Are yous coming over? And she would say, no, Bob, it's are you coming over? And so it went on and on to the point where all of a sudden, he could no longer really get it out of his mouth without thinking about his friend's mom who was saying, Bob, no, it's are you coming over? But the head would still think, are you? It was awkward. Have you ever tried to change a pattern? And it's like awkward. Your mind catches, do I really want to say it like that? Do I want to do this? There's something in you that's not quite, it's awkward, but you keep running that pattern, you keep running that awareness, you keep running that dream, you keep running that vision before you, and all of a sudden it begins to be natural, and you are saying it in the correct kind of way. You are being in that correct kind of way. All of a sudden the subjective pattern is changing. So what I want to say is you want to stick to it. You want to stay with that as you begin to move through the change that is in you, because what was past there, leave it in the past. Well, no, I got to deal with it. Fine, deal with it. But I want to share with you something James von Praagh shared. And as you know, he's going to be here Friday. I trust you got your tickets because the place is going to be, it's going to be a fun night for sure. But he works on talking about past lives and leaving things on the other side. You know, he wasn't the only one. I mean, Plato talked about, did you ever read in the Republic, the last one, the myth of Ur? The guy died and came back, the soldier. And what happened is the soldier crossed over the river Ur, where you're supposed to leave your memories on the other side, but he brought them with him. So this concept's not unusual or new. But James von Praagh wrote, he said, I believe that souls merge into the new physical vessel that they'll occupy. And it goes through what the mystic tradition refers to as the sea, or the veil of forgetfulness. Souls are meant to come into this physical dimension with a clean slate to start all over again. And if a soul were to remember every poor choice and situation in the past, it would be so obsessed with how it did or didn't behave, or even how maybe it destroyed lives, that this would influence the choices that it makes in this lifetime. And the soul wouldn't be able to concentrate on the current lessons it needs to complete. I do believe that all these memories are indeed accessible through our subjective, but the conscious mind is what allows us to focus in on this time. Otherwise, our heads would be so full of what we wouldn't be able, so full that we wouldn't be able to function. Got that? Good. I can stop. No. I'm just going to say it a little bit more. But, so there it is. You come here and you leave all that stuff there because you don't need to deal with it. You got new lessons that you get to work with. What I'm saying here, if you want to just allow healing to happen, those things from this life or that childhood or that past relationship, they're part of your character, they're total makeup, but they can stay in the past. You want healing to happen, you got to let the past be in the past, you got to allow the future to be in the future, and you've got to be present. That's where the healing happens, is in the present moment. And healing in anything can happen for you. You are the one who, and the only one, who is responsible for the activities of your life. And you're not responsible for other people's activities. You're always responsible for yours, and really never for others. Though it may look like it sometimes, you really have no control other than over your own activities. The activities of others, they're out of your control. It's your perception, it's your interpretation, it's how you code the experience inside. But what's important, if you want healing to happen, is to be able to think independent of the situations, to think independent of circumstances. Because circumstances and situations happen. If you're independent of those, what happens is you begin to realize they do not control your destiny. Got that? If you're independent of situations, circumstances, they cannot control your destiny. Other people's thoughts, that's not your karma. Your thoughts are your karma. And as you begin to step out, people may be saying, hey, Christian, what are you thinking? How are you going to get from here to there? Anybody ever say that to you? How are you going to get from here to there? And sometimes the only transportation is a leap of faith that will take you from here to there. But as your friends begin to notice you're thinking like that, and say, Christian, I really just don't think you're being realistic. Heard that one plenty of times. And when someone says you're not being realistic, what they're really doing is arguing for smallness. What they're doing is arguing for limitation. What they're doing is arguing to pull you back down to your level. And what I am saying this philosophy about is coming to connect with that infinite source, where I said infinite. You know what infinite means? It doesn't mean smallness. It means infinite possibilities. And you are the one who gets to decide what it is you're going to look at and the activities that are going to control your life, because you are that Spirit will show up in your life in proportion to what it is you have going on inside your mind, your awareness. What matches is the frequency or the vibration of your life. That is healing. It's going on all the time. We often will make this wonderful, magical kind of concept that healing is, wow, look at this. But just getting up and getting here is a miracle. You have this healing going on. Your body's regenerating itself. It's kicking things out that don't match that God vibration all the time. You are the one who's got to go into that place and begin to walk with a sense of assurance. I'll tell you, those that are confident and self-assured are the humble ones around us. They're not the ones jumping around saying, hey, I'm rich. No, they're the ones that are so self-assured that they walk with that vibration and frequency. And so when I do my prayers, or when one does prayers or meditation or visioning, you start off in the mind, or you start off with the affirmation or that positive thought or some contemplative image, and you sit there with it. But then all of a sudden, for the healing to happen, what I've noticed is there's a shift, and the humanist dissolves. It kind of fades, and there is an experience of a closeness, of a connectedness, of a oneness, of that life force, of that presence, of spirit itself. And it happens like right now, in this moment. Can't help but be filled with joy, happiness, love, sense of well-being. Someone once asked the Dalai Lama when he was on tour, said, hey, you wrote a book on happiness. Oh my goodness. Obviously you've had some horrendous experiences in your life, like exile, and you've got other experiences that you got a #1 New York Times bestseller on happiness. What can you tell me what was the happiest moment of your life? Happiest memory, anyway. Anyway, which he does. And he said, I think right now. Right now. Imagine if we could live in the right now. It's the best moment ever, because there's this conscious connection with the infinite. Not because I am trying to get anything, but because I am everything. You would then walk in this world as a radiant expression, and you couldn't help but to experience healing happening everywhere you step. So God bless you in that endeavor. Love you.
Feel the light, won't you come in from the cold? to this place. You cry for mercy and you long for grace. Feel the love, feel the light. Won't you come in from the cold? 'Cause all are welcome here. Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home. 'Cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here. Here.
All Are Welcome Here, from the album Path of Light, was co-written by Peggy Lebo and Reverend Christian Sorensen. It's available at www.peggylebo.com.